we can come back to it. Sorry about that, Rick. We'll get it working, I promise.
No worries.
All right, so at any moment now, this should start recording. Yes. Okay, great. So welcome everybody to the new member meetup. We do these once a month. This is an opportunity for new members to ask some questions, and we can share some orientation videos. To get things going, I'm going to play a quick video. It's about 8 minutes long. We could also, maybe skip that for now, and I'll just add it in the chat. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is. It's a pretty quick video. Why don't I play this really quick? And this will give you a sense of where to find some resources. They're kind of hidden within e-NABLE. We have what's called the launch pad, which is a space that that basically as sort of orientation materials. I'm going to add the link to the launch pad in the chat, and I'll play the video. If you guys want to check out the link or watch the video, either one is fine. This will just take about 5 minutes. I'll skim through it. Let's see if I can pull this up. Okay. Can you guys hear the music? Is it playing? Is there audio?
I don't hear any audio on my end.
Nobody else hearing audio?
I don't hear any audio.
No audio.
No audio. Okay. Well, let me just share this link then, and you guys can watch it later. It's really helpful though. We had an intern who put this guide together and built this launch pad, which is just a really great resource. And I can share my screen really quickly and just show you guys where it is. So everybody's familiar with the hub. I've seen everybody on the hub. You'll notice in the top bar, there's the main forum. You can see all the international chapters. And on the left, there's this drop down that lets you look at all these other spaces. And if you put in new members, you'll see new members welcome. This is the space for new members. There's sort of a little shortcut of community rules, becoming a maker, some next steps, joining the community right at the top in the pinned post. And in that post, you'll see a link to the Launchpad, which is sort of more in-depth. That gives you a lot of information about using the hub, coordinating with schools, lots of different stuff, fundraising, resources from all over the place. The lighter version of that is the video that I just sent. So just so you guys have that handy. I already introduced myself. You guys have a sense of what I've been up to, but I've been working on these community meetings. There's actually several different monthly meetings that we have. Share my screen one more time. You'll see in the forum on the side, it says this month's e-NABLE meetings in the space menu. And you can see that we have these 5 meetings once a month. So the Bionic Design meeting, we've got the chapter leaders meeting, we've got e-NABLE education, we've got the new member meetup, which is where we're at now. And then next week we'll have the focus follow-up, which is, it's actually going to change focus, but Rick is going to be presenting about some DIY fabrication processes other than 3D printing that he's been piloting, which is great. So we have those every month. If you go to the wiki, you can see that we've got a whole bunch of meetings going back every month, those 5 reoccurring, which is great for new members. So maybe we can go around, and if you want to introduce yourself, where you're from, how long you've been involved with e-NABLE, and what your interests are, and I'll start with Adam, and when you're done, just pick somebody else in the group.
Sure. Well, hey everybody. My name is Adam Jennings. I am a
physical therapist and organizational design lead based in Kansas City, Missouri. I spent, gosh, I've been out of the clinical space, and forgive me, I'm getting over a little bit of cold, but I've been out of the clinical space for a couple of years now, but my specialization was in amputee rehabilitation. I was first made aware of e-NABLE about 6 years ago, sent out a couple of inquiries. Around that time, I started working for a tech company here in KC that had a maker space, and I got interested in 3D printing and hence found out about e-NABLE, printed out a test hand and did the whole thing, and felt like a really good opportunity. But when COVID happened, things got kind of derailed, and the potential of working with e-NABLE kind of went in the back burner. But I'm actually with a new company these days. I've just finished up an MBA and have a little bit more time on my hands, and was hoping I could be involved in the organization. And ideally, what I'm really interested in is being a little bit more involved in e-NABLE's organizational outreach. They're trying to reach more kiddos and more potential recipients, and seeing how we can organize these efforts to increase impact. But happy to be here, and thanks for the invite. I'm going to pass it off to Marco.
Thank you. Hello, this is Marco Dominguez. I'm located here in Aguascalientes, Mexico. Today I'm working for a Japanese company. We build the retractor for the seatbelt springs. And well, I've been in engineering for a long time. I am doing a lot more of management now, but I've always been interested in kind of building cells. I got a 3D printer about 6 months ago, and I started doing several things. I do a lot of radio controlled airplanes. And I noticed that with the 3D printer and the radio controlled airplanes, it's a combination of servos, mechatronics, etc. And when I was browsing through the web, I found about e-NABLE. And the reason why I decided to start electronics when I was a lot younger was because someday I wanted to do probably some bionic prosthetics, which at the time was kind of difficult, and I realized I was not so good at math. But now applied electronics is a lot easier to use. Somebody can do the design, and we can manufacture it in our machines. It's easier, I guess, now to do project management. So I hope that through e-NABLE and with this 3D printer I have now, and with the will to help others, and I can help the community, especially those people around here in Mexico that might require it, especially people with lesser resources. And also, I lived many years in Japan, and I noticed that in Japan, there is only one chapter. In Mexico, there are 3 chapters. So probably a combination of helping both could be a good idea. So I'm open to ideas. I need to learn a lot. I just finished the first part of one of the hands. I am just waiting for the tendons and the strings to complete it, and then I'll put a video up, and I will see if it can be approved and take it from there. So thank you very much, and nice to meet you all. Ron, if you can go next. I'm sorry, the phone keeps ringing. It's from work. I might just switch off for 5 minutes, take the call, and come back.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so my name is Ron. I'm out of LA. I've been working for a while at TNT. Most recently with COVID, I've been working at COVID testing sites. And right now I'm also going to grad school for social work. So I had a 3D printer for probably a little over a year now or so, and I'm just making random things. And then I saw some like videos about like, well, I saw one video in particular about somebody who made prosthetics out of Legos. Made one for a kid out of Legos, and that was kind of cool. So I looked into if there's anybody making prosthetics from 3D printing. So I found this organization, and I just started, I just got into the room and wanted to see if there's a way I can get involved.
Very cool. We're having a little bit of audio feedback. I don't know if other people are having some audio troubles. But Ron, it sounds like you're in LA and you're interested in some of the Lego prosthetics and getting involved. It's great.
I don't do Legos. I have a 3D printer, but I saw a video of somebody who made some out of Legos. I thought that was cool, so I looked to see if people are doing that with 3D printing. So
very cool. Have you joined the hub? I looked on the hub to see if I could find your profile.
Yeah, I'm in the hub. Very new to this group. If you want, I can send a message right now or something.
That'd be great. Yep. At the end of these calls, what I'll do is I'll just tag all of you guys so there's an easy access if you want to go back and look up anything from the video. Great. So if you want to pass it to who else is left?
Pass it to Benjamin.
Hey, I'm Benjamin. I'm from North Carolina. Have a master's in IT and information security. My wife and I have a small cybersecurity business in North Carolina. I have a 3D printer for about 2 months now. I found about that it was something that I wanted to get involved in. Be as a maker and do anything I can. So, who else is around?
I think Rick is the last one to go.
All right, Rick.
Hello, everyone. My name's Rick Williams. I was a mainframe engineer for probably almost 35 years. And I actually had my hand severed. And they didn't think that it would, they could put it back on. I got lucky. And that was right about at a time where they decided they could fit it back on, but it probably wouldn't work. It would just hang there. That didn't happen. It works. And I got involved in e-NABLE because I was using some of the devices that are available on e-NABLE to build myself an exoskeleton. It would allow me to do my own exercises and stuff for the hand. So I had actually built myself a device that 24/7, it worked my hand. And it's back. There's a couple of fingers that are reversed, but other than that, it works pretty good. I haven't actually been active in e-NABLE because I kind of have my own, I was running my my own little group where we were building for some of the local amputees. But I've recently become a lot more active at e-NABLE, and I think you guys will find it's probably one of the most fun things you'll ever do.
Very cool. So I've added in the chat links to some recent posts from all of you guys, and it's a pretty eclectic group. I think in terms of some questions, and I guess, does anybody have anything that they want to share in terms of projects or next steps? I did notice in some of the posts that you guys had some questions that people joined in on. I've got a couple things that I could jump in on, but maybe we can start with any questions you guys have.
Can I go first then?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, I am a little bit confused because I haven't been able to read everything that is on the homepage, and I see a lot of volunteering to manufacture and to provide these processes, especially like the one I was showing here. But we are supposed to offer them, for example, completely for free, or depending on the cases, you can also charge for the materials, or do we provide them through e-NABLE? How should we do that?
Those are great questions. There's different models in different countries depending on sort of the local needs. Most e-NABLE chapters do more than just make e-NABLE hands. So, for example, in Pakistan, there's a chapter called Grit 3D. They do really incredible work with e-NABLE, doing free prosthetics, but they also do paid work for architecture firms and trainings for schools and that kind of stuff. There are chapters that have found that giving devices for free weren't valued as much as if they had sort of a sliding scale, and they would offer free devices if somebody sort of qualified for it, if they weren't able to pay for the device, but they also allowed people to pay for devices or asked a minimal fee. There's in the code of conduct for e-NABLE, it's free open source assistive devices. So, the free devices are sort of considered kind of the e-NABLE activities, but in places like Paraguay, they found that getting the follow-up, being able to continue a relationship with people that are piloting these devices seemed like it worked much better if they charged a minimal amount. And there were sort of these block parties, like community events people would organize to get funding, for people to get these devices. And then through that process, it would build a little bit of community. There's a sense of value to it. I don't know if that answers your question, but it really depends on the culture and the circumstances. And I think I can share with you there's a chapter spotlight that I did on Paraguay, and they talk specifically about that, that they found that they had to charge something for the devices minimally just to get people to sort of value the work that they were doing.
Yes, I think I will read through the documentation, the code of conduct, but I agree, for example, that in places like Japan, maybe free is not given as much importance or value as other options. In Mexico, depending on the community, it needs to be for free, for example.
Right.
But if you, the other thing is, I guess I will have to read enough information, and what I want to do is work according to the rules. But if now that I started, I got a request and I wasn't ready for it, I just wanted to make sure I did it the right way. But okay, I'll read and try to get more information. And if I get a case, a particular case, I will try to share it to follow your advice.
Cool. And yeah, I added a link to the Paraguay chapter spotlight. There's a bunch of information about their subsidy program. If you scroll down, you can see it. Let's see, I'll share my screen. It's a couple pages down, but you can also find in the forum, let's see, where would it be? Actually, it's in the new member space. The code of conduct has specific reference to being able to give the device away for free, but yeah, it's the same situation, it sounds like, in Japan as it is in Paraguay. There's been some really interesting projects in Mexico with free devices. I can also send you some links to that. a couple chapters that have done some work. I think it's been a couple of years, but for the code of conduct, you'll see it in the new member space under community rules, and I'll add a link to that. But that is something that has been an open discussion. People have brought up several times. Good question.
Thank you.
Marco, just so you know, I've probably been doing this about 6 years. I've never personally charged anybody anything, but I think that's a personal decision that you have to make.
And it also depends on culture too. It is one of those things that you'll read about it in the Pope Paraguay article, but they had them for free in the beginning, and then they realized that having, even if it's a cost equivalent, having some sort of value equation made it I think more valued by the recipients, and it gave them a sense of how much time was going into this.
Yes, I understand. Thank you. I'll read the pages you sent me. And as I said, what I will do is, if I get any requirement, I will make a consultation first.
Great. And do you have you said you're in Aguas Calientes in Mexico?
Yes, that's right.
The case that came to you, is that local or is that an international case?
No, I haven't received any yet.
Okay.
But for example, I was telling somebody about this, and as soon as I mentioned that there was this movement, she said, "Oh, I know of somebody that that is an amputee." And I said, "Well, I just started, but if it's required, I think I can get you connected to the right people, and probably together we can work on it." But apparently it was not only the hand, it was from the arm. And I haven't worked on developing the arm yet because I want to finish the hand first, see how it works. I think I can also do the arm, but I want to go step by step. Anyway, I don't want that to stop that person from getting help. So this is why I immediately wanted to start investigating in what were the requirements.
Great, cool. Yeah, and it really does make a huge difference where an amputation or limb difference begins and ends. Let's see, I'll share my screen again. There's a lot of great information under the devices page. And you'll see that there's a little bit of a description of some of the different kinds of arm anatomies, and you can click on, let's see, where is it? See all devices to list everything out, and it's organized by those anatomies.
Yes.
But it's much more complicated to print like a Kwau arm than a hand, and having a team to work on that is definitely something that we'd recommend. Have you used e-NABLE Web Central before?
You mean this page that you're showing me now?
There's a matching platform that that we've used. It's sort of in transition, but having you can actually just use the hub if you wanted to, as you get closer, testing out the device that you're working on now. You could probably organize some makers and other people to collaborate with in Mexico, if it's a case that's in Mexico. And also in Central and South America, there's some really developed chapters that have lots of different devices. Paraguay is one example. Colombia has some really active chapters too. So there could be some opportunities to, if you worked on a case, to have maybe 3 or 4 people in a couple different places consulting on it, working together, and sharing the project.
Thank you. So basically, also the question was meant in the direction of how can we also help e-NABLE to keep going. For example, when I purchased the tendons and the things that you need to make the hand, I purchased them through the 3D. There's a shop, and then it says that if you buy there and you send an email, then part of the purchase goes to e-NABLE community. So I made sure to send that email, but that is just a few dollars. So I don't think that's enough. So are there other ways of, or are there other requirements for funding in the community? Especially, for example, sustaining that homepage and the hub that you're showing us, it becomes a little bit expensive. So I guess there needs to be a fundraising for that.
Great questions. I can pop up, there's a page that we have for donations. Currently, we use this platform, it's Lumio. So we set up a sort of like a platform that allows for projects, you know, if people want to get funded on different things. I'm going to share a couple things with you guys just to give you a quick overview of fundraising. You can also see it if you go to that Launchpad that I shared earlier. There's sort of a section on fundraising, but I'll give you guys a quick tour. So Enabling the Future is one of the websites. There's a lot of different websites. Each chapter has their own website. Enabling the Future is one of the sort of main US-based ones. And you'll see partnering with e-NABLE. And there's, you know, sort of these different ways that people partner. There's some corporations and foundations. This needs to be updated, but that have donated, you know, different stories of projects. So this page has a list of some of that stuff. I think probably more interesting to you is going to be Lumio. Here we go. This is a place where not only can you see projects that have been funded, but you can be involved in voting for or against, or asking questions for different projects. You can also post your own project. So for example, Marco, if you had an idea about some sort of a regional center that you wanted to work on with, you know, several other partners, you could post that here. So as an example, let's see, this is a project that did get funded. Kyle Reeser going back to Tanzania. You can see that he started out with a post, and then, you know, he described the project. He's been to Tanzania before. He's done work there with a chapter. He wanted to help some local prosthetists create basically a space that they could do some production with prosthetics. Through the Q&A, a lot of people ask questions, ask for more specific deliverables. So he refined the proposal, ended up getting 19 votes. I think you need 18 for it to pass. He wasn't asking for a ton of money. I think it's just $3,000 or something like that. So as far as I know, he's on his way to Tanzania now. I'm going to share one more link with you guys. Let's see if I can do this. So this is Enabling the Future. Let's see. Which shows some of the partners and sort of previous, sort of more like corporate stuff, but there's also some information about schools. This is e-NABLEO, or this Lumio platform, which is, you know, voting for different projects. That is open for everybody. You guys are all welcome to be involved with. And it's also a great way to dig back and see previous projects. Actually, the media coordination work that I've been doing is a part of that. It's sort of an extension of a project that I proposed in there. And I'll also open up Open Collective. That's sort of a transparent way that e-NABLE has been documenting sort of a small cache of funds. So the e-NABLE Fund And you can see that there's donations that people can make, you know, small donations, larger donations, but you can also see different financial contributors. You can see organizations that have been involved. You can go down, you can drill down into, you know, some specific, so you can see this Tanzania project was $3,035. It was paid on July 2nd. So it's all transparent. And it's small funds. I mean, e-NABLE really is, there's a very small overlap between all these different chapters involving sort of a value system, doing free or, you know, accessible open source devices, but each chapter is financially independent. So we do have sort of these opportunities for fundraising and sort of some small centralized funds, but each chapter, I mean, the chapter in Turkey, you know, they've got their own budget. They partner with local organizations. It's independent, and each of you guys is also welcome to you know, form local alliances and partnerships. And, you know, there's chapters that basically set up a formal organization to make it easier to do that. But there's no reason or requirement to be an organization or to be a chapter. Rick is a Maverick maker without being chapter affiliated. Some of the most active members of the community are just individual makers that are coordinating with, you know, local resources. So
Thank you.
I hope that answers your question.
And yeah, thank you. That was a lot of good information for me too. That was great. I've got, I don't want to derail the conversation because I don't know if this is strictly relevant to everybody else's situation. When I originally posted after joining earlier this month, and John, is it Schul or Schul?
Mm-hmm.
He replied that this is something that I should raise during today's meeting. But I'm interested in, I think I mentioned this a moment ago during my intro, but I'm interested in seeing how we can expand our outreach efforts. And I don't know if that's something that maybe we should talk about offline, or if there's anybody that I could be in touch with. But I'd really like to see where, and I actually just, while you were walking through this, enrolled in the e-NABLE hub, which is awesome, seeing where all of these cases are outstanding and how people are actually connecting. But I would really like to see how we can expand the impact here, because it seems like we've got a lot of energy and a lot of people who want to build, certainly far more than it seems like we have access to providing to kiddos. So any current efforts in the works to expand outreach, and if not, is there anything that I can do to contribute there?
Yeah, I think you raised some really great points. I just, as you were talking, sent a message to John. I know he's in transit today, but maybe he can join us for a few minutes in this call if he has decent reception. Having you be involved, especially as a physical therapist, looking at outreach would be amazing. There's a weekly meeting every week. I think what John was referencing was not this monthly meeting, but the weekly town hall meetings.
Gotcha.
So if you go to the top on the right-hand side, you'll see upcoming events, and there's these weekly town hall meetings. Those are open for everybody. So that's something Rick joins every week. I try to join every week. John, if he's available, joins, and Jeremy. That would be a really great place to, if you're available next week at 11 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
You can just sort of listen in on what's going on in terms of odds and ends projects. But even if you wanted to have a short presentation, I can send a message to Jeremy, and I'm sure they'd all be happy to have you share, spend a couple minutes, share a little bit about your background and your interest in outreach. As John Cho would probably say, e-NABLE being a duocracy, if anybody wants to raise their hand for different initiatives. Basically, everybody else just tries to connect the dots with whatever resources are available in terms of
Great.
previous work that's been done. I mean, that's the mistake that Rick made that's gotten him into this pickle of having all this this work going on with the help desk and everything else. So
Okay, yeah, no, that's great. I just put it on my calendar for 10 a.m. Central next Friday. And shoot, I wish I hadn't gotten my wires crossed on that one. I would have attended this morning. But no, that sounds great. Beyond that, I mean, I do have, I ended up going down the physical therapy route because it was kind of a toss up between that or prosthetics. But I've definitely been missing since leaving the clinical space a few years back. Just the sort of life satisfaction that comes from working in a service field. So anything that I can do to help out, I'm really ready to throw myself into this. So
maybe I'll pass it to Rick.
Whatever
Rick has
we do.
been a recent, he's been recently enlisted with all sorts of projects, but it looks like Benjamin, you've got your hand raised.
I seem to have lost my video with you guys.
And Benjamin, I think you're on mute.
I've lost all the video with everybody.
Hmm.
That's odd.
I can hear Rick and I can see everybody. How's
Something, it just popped up. Okay.
I can't hear Benjamin though. Can others hear Benjamin?
No.
no, I can't.
Okay. I don't know. It looks like you're driving, Benjamin. If we're having issues with your connection, if you want to add in the chat, I can read any questions that you've got.
Yeah, 1 second.
While Benjamin's typing, Rick, do you want to talk a little bit about your experiences volunteering and basically getting involved in e-NABLE? You've been pretty involved the last 6 months or more.
Yeah, it's been actually amazing. I mean, it's just, some of the stories you get to hear and to be able to collaborate and help. It isn't necessarily imperative that you belong to a chapter, but it's probably a great idea to just try to get to know somebody at a chapter that's near you, because when you call out for help, you usually really need it. And just getting to know the names of a few of the folks and some of the key people, I think is super important. Everybody needs a bailout sometimes, you just got questions. And as you all know that do 3D printing, a mistake can cost you quite a few days. That, it's difficult. And a lot of these guys are all seasoned pros. They've done this 1,000 times and they're all willing to help. I've never had an issue getting help when I needed it.
Awesome. I'm going to add in a couple links in the chat too, including there's a presentation that Rick gave last month about some of his work, which is great. So that's also an opportunity for anybody involved to put a presentation together for the community. So it looks like Benjamin asks, where will be the place to go if we have technical questions? I am working on printing my first device, and my concern is when sizing in one axis, how will affect the hinges.
I believe the device that he's building, that Benjamin's building, I believe that's a parametric device. And that kind of takes care of itself, because if you're using SCAD, as you're doing the sizing, XCAD, that's really what it does very well. is that most of the designs are parametric in nature. So when you make a change of that on something from a sizing perspective, the hinges will automatically be changed to the proper sizes. You'll find that SCAD is your friend.
Also, it's always an option to post something in the hub. So what I do every week is I go through the post and I put different tags. Let me give you guys a quick tour of how that works. That can make it really easy for finding resources, but also, let's see if I can open this up for sharing things. So in the forum, what you're talking about is sort of like the printing process, maybe some questions with specific devices. You'll see that there's these tags above each post. Oh, I see Ron. Awesome. So you can also filter everything. So if I click on this little filter icon in the top and go down to topics, I can put in printing process. I think there's something like 36 different topics, but you can filter all the posts and then you can zoom in specifically on posts about printing, and you can share a post and get a lot of feedback. Marco got some really great comments from Thierry, who's the chapter leader of e-NABLE France. I know Jeremy mentioned in the town hall meeting today that this process that Thierry mentioned is new to him, basically printing at an angle and getting smoother results from the printing process. So they went back and forth a number of times, and I see, Benjamin, you also were asking some questions there. That's a great place to get feedback. If there's somebody specific that you want to get some feedback from, you can always tag them in your comment. And you'll notice that if you hover over somebody's profile, you'll see the badges that they've collected. So Benjamin has 4 badges. Some of that can be really helpful. For example, Eric Bubar is a really experienced maker. He's got a lot of different badges. So you can, if you're trying to print, let's say the Phoenix V2, and you see that this guy's got experience with it, you can ask a question and tag him specifically, or know that they're talking about something they've experienced. But again, just even filtering the forum can take all the noise out. So this is, again, printing process. I hover over Joaquin Buchanan, Jack. He's the maker who developed the Kwawu. So he's got all these designs that he's created and shared open source. He's a really experienced person to talk to. If you have any questions about his devices, he's the guy. So that's one way that you can use the hub to kind of zero in and get some feedback. Ron, I saw that you had your hand up too.
Yeah, I guess mine was more just a general question. I guess you guys kind of touched on getting in touch with local chapters, kind of just, like how to find your area, what projects.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, Ron.
Yeah, so I guess mine was more just like a general question about like how to find out, what people are working on your area and what they need help with. I guess signing up for local chapters mentioned. I also I'm following the Facebook group. I don't know if there's a lot of things posted on that people are working on. But yeah, if you have any other points about like how to find out what people need help with in your area to get involved.
That's a great question. So learning about sort of projects and chapters locally, getting involved. Let's see. So there's a chapter map. It really needs to be updated, but if you go to chapters.
Yeah, I was going to say, I clicked on the map and it just says loading map for me. It's not really
Ooh, we might have a broken map.
I broke it again.
You might have broken it again. Let's see if I click here, does it
You know
work?
what I bet happened is Jeremy was in there today doing a demo, and he might have done the same thing I did to it when he
Okay,
put that
so
test one in there.
we've got a broken map.
Do you think it was just my computer that was really slow or something? Because I clicked on it and
Let me go look real quick. You guys
Well,
don't
I gotta
mind.
say that finding broken stuff is what I do about half the time with e-NABLE. So it's great that if we know the map's broken, we can fix it.
Yeah, I think it might have been Jeremy put that test row in there today.
Yeah, that'll do it.
That would have done it, probably. Because I
Um,
did that. I did the same thing and broke it.
Okay.
So,
So stay tuned, but what you can do with the map is you can zoom in and you can see chapters that are in your area, which is great. Another thing is, this works better sort of on a country level, but you can search the forum for, I don't know, California, or it's really much better on the map because you can see there's tons of chapters in California, a lot of schools that are doing some really great stuff. So I guess stay tuned for the map to be fixed, and check that out. But keep your eyes peeled in the hub. And there are times that I've seen people, they'll post and say, hi, I'm joining from this state, and then 3 other people say, I'm right across the river, or whatever.
and also, yeah, I just recently started following a Facebook group. Is that kind of an active thing or not?
It's becoming reactivated. Rick's going to be helping us out with that. The Facebook group used to be tied to Enabling the Future, which hasn't been as active the last year or two. But Facebook is something that I think is, you're going to find a lot more activities locally. There's a lot of different Facebook groups, or WhatsApp also. I mean, there's chapters in South America that use WhatsApp for everything, in terms of communicating with the team. So there's a lot of, I don't know, individual sort of localized spaces that you can find, but Facebook isn't something that that is sort of centralized, I guess, as much right now. But there is Enabling the Future, or I think it's just the Enable page, is sort of a main place to go. Let me see if I can pull it up. But there's also a lot of these spaces like the Enable R&D. The main page is Enable, though. Let's see, here it is. So yeah, this is the main page. And yeah, not as active as the hub. The thing about the hub that's really useful is that because there's none of the noise of Facebook, everybody in there it's easy to sort of identify where they're at. And let me pull this up really quick. The new member space also twice a week will introduce people. So you can see that 23 hours ago there was a post. We've got a new member in Mexico. Julie is actually the chapter leader in Greece. She was having issues with her account and remade it. But you can get a sense of the community just by seeing these automated posters twice a week of people around the world. But each school tends to have a Facebook group. So that's what you're gonna, localized groups, you're probably gonna find Facebook pages. Adam's gonna be dropping off. Adam, I look forward to seeing you next week if he hasn't. Yeah, he's ready, okay. Also open for everybody else to join the town hall meetings next week. I'll share that link. Any other questions that folks have about getting involved? We're wrapping up at the end of the hour.
Just quickly, then it was okay that I posted my questions on that place, right? I received a very good replies very quickly. I was able to complete the printing, but I didn't know if I was posting it in the right place. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't bothering anybody.
No, that's you did the right place. What happens sometimes is people, when they first get involved, they first sign up, they post in the new member space, which is fine, but it's a smaller group of people that see it. The main forum is the best place to post general questions, and that's, you got really quick responses, which is awesome. You guys can definitely explore the different spaces. So we have the new member space, but we also have spaces for bionics, for education, different projects. You guys are also welcome to make your own space. Let me pull that up.
Yes,
But-
actually, I am very interested in bionics as well. As I mentioned, I use some servos for my remote controlled airplanes, and I noticed in some other sites, well, especially in YouTube, that some people were creating the movements of the hands using these little servos. So eventually, I would like to be able to become able to probably make more complex hands. Yes, this is what you are showing right now. The first is this